Welcome to The Fire Within. I'm your host, Joel Young. This week, we're visiting with two of the Okanagan's genuine entrepreneurs and finding out about their entrepreneurial journey. So let's visit with them right now. Peter Flynn of Sky High Aerial Photography. Peter, wave at everybody.
Yep.
And to my immediate left is Mike Urban of Urban Distilleries, one of 7 craft distilleries in the province of British Columbia. Gentlemen, I thought we'd begin our visit tonight having each of you, in turn, talk about the beginnings of your entrepreneurial venture. Peter, let's start with you first. How did you begin your journey as an entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I've always had a passion for flying, and I've done some piloting before with aircraft, and didn't really like the way that I was getting my products out, so I decided to start Sky High Aerial Photography, which is a unique form of actually taking aerial photographs. So I actually developed a system where I combined equipment that was all over the world in order to put together this airship system that houses a gimbal, 21 feet, 500 cubic feet of helium, so I can lift up to 30 pounds, and I control everything from the ground. It is tethered on a base station, so I get to avoid the Transport Canada regulations, which means that I can go absolutely anywhere I want within crowds of people to on golf courses without having to close it down. So I see exactly what my camera is seeing in my live view, and then I control the gimbal and all my camera functions from the ground.
How long have you had your business in operation?
We are going into our 5th year now.
5th year now.
Yeah.
And please tell our viewers what are the applications for your service you provide, because it in essence is a service, is it not?
Yep. Yeah.
What are the applications? I know that there's lots of applications, but maybe give the viewers a taste of what the applications of your service would be.
We always like to say that the sky is the limit as far as what we can take. So really anything you can imagine being taken from the air, we can shoot. Primary applications, especially in the Okanagan, is some publisher work. So we do a lot of work promoting the beauty of the Okanagan for magazines. Everything from golf courses to vineyards to just construction projects that are ongoing. We do some work for lawyers as well for any type of accident investigations.
Oh, okay.
I can only divulge so much information with those.
Absolutely.
But it keeps us busy. Everything from, as I said, new developments to real estate projects to just general beauty.
The diversification is there because you can also, correct me if I'm wrong, you can also use your system for military application, for crime investigation application.
Yep.
Yes?
Yep.
Right.
Again, it's not very intrusive, even though some people think a giant airship floating through the air is, but the beauty of it is so stable, and we can adapt our cameras for infrared. We've done some missing person work before.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, so
okay.
we work with local authorities to find out sort of whether they are. And the other beauty of the system is I keep it housed in an enclosed trailer, so we can literally be at a site and launch within 5-10 minutes, which is a huge advantage.
It sure is. Okay. Mike, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about Urban Distilleries. How long have you had your distillery in operation? And what was the beginning of the road that you took that led you to start a distillery?
Well, thanks, Joel, for having me. Urban Distilleries, I created, I'm going into my 4th year now. So just over 4 years ago, I had a hobby and I had a passion of distilling at home. And I started out with beer and wine, and I did that for many, many years. I got very good at it. So, it was just something that I love to do.
Yep.
I'm an electronic engineer.
You like to drink? Is that what you're telling the audience?
I drink a lot less now than I did before, but I guess working in it does that.
Yep.
But basically, I was an electronic engineer by trade, and there's not really all that much you can do for your own business in electronics. So I wanted to work for myself, and I was looking for something. And I ended up going to France for a vacation, and I went to a cognac distillery, and I just totally fell in love with the distillery there, and the history behind the distilling and the distilleries themselves. And I thought, that would be the perfect thing to bring back to Kelowna.
Yeah, that must have been really exciting for you to visit a cognac factory.
Yes, yeah,
So
it was
unique
just,
and so novel.
yeah, I mean, we have tons of wineries here, we have some breweries, but we
Yeah.
never had no distilleries, so
Yeah.
I thought there was a good opportunity there. So I took my passion and what I love to do, I turned it into a business.
Mhm,
And within a year after getting back from France, I had it up and running.
And the future, your vision for the future is taking your product. Well, you're already in the BC liquor stores.
Yeah, I'm throughout BC and Alberta now,
Yeah. Oh,
and
okay.
our products are all top notch. They're ultra premium, handcrafted,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're all done in our stills right on site, right at the distillery, where we ferment everything, all local ingredients,
Yeah.
all high-end ingredients, all from BC, and it's all natural, no artificial anything.
Since I've met you and learned something about your distillery business, I've learned that you also experiment with other market possibilities. May I say it that way?
Yeah, I mean, there's pretty much it's unlimited of what we can do.
Yeah.
Everything that we need is in BC here. We got the grain, we got the fruit, we got, the grapes. I mean,
Yeah.
I can make anything. Sky's the limit.
We talked, I know one of our conversations, Mike, we talked, and I think the audience will find it interesting, we talked about ginseng-infused vodka,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is quite interesting because, folks, I didn't realize that in the Okanagan and beyond, maybe from Kamloops and outside the front door of this television studio, there are ginseng farms, which I find quite interesting. But the one that you have developed some affiliation with is in Kamloops, is it not, Mike?
Yes.
Yep. There's an interesting possibility for ginseng-infused vodka with the Asian community because there's a health factor to some degree of the ginseng.
Yeah, Canadian ginseng is highly prized in Asia.
Oh, okay.
So we are focusing on that with some of our product lines, and hopefully we'll have some of those products out very soon.
Good, that's wonderful. Peter?
Anything infused with vodka is interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It was interesting because I was visiting Mike one day and he had a big pile of ginseng. So remember that? And we all had a chunk of ginseng and we were chewing on it. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And wow, what an experience that was. Because it leaves a very distinctive taste in your mouth after. It's not unpleasant. It's distinctive.
Wash it down with some vodka.
Wash it down with the vodka.
Absolutely.
Peter, I want to ask now ask you, relative to the venture that you are currently operating now, how does your background and experience of the days gone by, how does that compare, or how does that compare with you making the decision to move into aerial photography as an entrepreneurial venture?
Well, that's an interesting question because I went to university out east and just took a general business and double majored actually in business and in marketing.
Okay.
And worked in Toronto for years for various promotional companies. And it just turned into the classic where I was tired of making other people money. So I had a really, really strong work ethic.
Yeah.
And had some personal circumstances that led to the opportunity for me pretty much to do whatever I wanted. So everything was started ground up. I didn't actually have any photography background. I knew I liked taking pictures, but wasn't really aware of the type of technology that was available. And then also wanted to do something unique. It's not that the aerial photography business in Kelowna is saturated. I just always have liked to sort of stand apart from the competition. And in all reality, I don't have very much competition because my aerial photography is so unique in itself because I don't have any moving parts that the quality of image that I can actually produce and capture is great. So I've been able to use my schooling and years of, as I said, making other people money to try to generate a decent income for myself. And it's been a challenge. I've had to do everything myself. It's pretty much a one-man operation, except for when I subcontract. But I can negotiate those wages because of my HR background as well. So yeah, it's definitely been an adventure, and I hope to keep doing it here for years to come.
I'd like to ask, the next question I'd like to ask both of you, and you can mull it over for a moment, is obstacles and constraints. What obstacles and constraints did both of you face on the entrepreneurial journey to get you to where you're at today? From the idea to launching your business to where you are today, your venture today. Any obstacles and constraints? Mike, you want to start?
Yeah, there's a few, particularly with the distillery. The trades here really don't know a lot about distilleries. So I had a lot of trouble finding the right tradespeople to put the distillery together. I have a low pressure steam boiler, and trying to find somebody to do that work was unbelievable. That was the last thing I would ever think of, starting my business and having those type of issues. Second of all was the business licensing for the city of Kelowna was, to say the least, brutal. It just
took a long time.
Took way too long. It was, I was on a tight timeline to, have my doors open from when I applied for the business license. So that was a very difficult point that would almost bury a business before you get started.
Yes. Peter?
Similar challenges as well. Obviously, dealing with people in aerial photography, there is some risk of danger. When I first started, again, I had spent money. First thing that I can definitely say is a challenge for almost every entrepreneur is not starting with enough capital. You can never really, doesn't matter how solid your business plan is, can actually follow it to the T. So I had to revamp. I sold a little Mazda Protege that I had and had to invest in a truck, and a trailer. So I was regulated fairly heavily by Transport Canada, and flight paths had to be established, and then it was a 21-day flight notice. And I found that the clients that I was starting to work with weren't willing to wait that long. And sure enough, my first project, 21 days passes, it gets approved, it's there, and it rains. No, it was terrible. It was very frustrating. So I had to wait another 21 days. So that was a challenge. The second was adapting to the technology. I just found that I had to keep, because it was all, I built it myself, and I don't want anyone to get the misconception that it's a toy, because it's not. But there was a lot of thought and ingenuity that had to go into it. So I take a lot of pride in my system, but definitely needing more money. And I had lots of support from friends and family and mentors, and certain organizations, local organizations that helped. But the nice part about having a unique business like that is I also created a fairly large barrier to entry. So it's hard for anyone to sort of copy what I do, which they can try, but
I think it's fair to say, listening to both of you talk, it's fair to say that regulatory requirements were prominent in both your ventures, were they not? Yours with Ministry of Transport regulations, and you with BC liquor licensing?
The liquor licensing, that's another
that's another
topic.
whole one. A topic that I know a little bit about, as you know, Mike. Okay, let's shift to some happy stuff for a moment. Please share with our viewers triumphant moments that each of you experienced in your ventures. Triumphant moments. Moments that made you happy, moments that made you say to yourself, darn, I'm glad I arrived at this, and I did make the right decision choosing this venture for my life.
Well, I guess I'll start.
Sure.
There was a couple. I mean, I made up a rock solid business plan for my company, and I spent better half of a year putting it together. When I took that into the bank, and they pretty much said, "How much do you need?" That was just, I walked out of that bank just like happy. I was not expecting that whatsoever. I thought I'd have to approach probably at least 5 to 6 different institutions to come up with the capital to start the business, because it is fairly upfront costs are pretty heavy with
Yes, they are.
with all the equipment that
Yeah.
I need.
Yeah.
And then, the second part was, when I got those doors open and I produced the first bottle for sale, doing that first sale for our open house, I had a tremendous showing of people and
Yep.
support. The MLA was there. The city, I believe the mayor of Kelowna was there. So it was a great time.
Good. Peter, do you have a triumphant moment?
Well, getting the thing to fly, that was pretty good actually. That was definitely a
It
good
works.
start.
It actually works.
Yeah, when it lifted off and it worked, and then I pushed my buttons and the shutter released, and then I brought it down and I saw through the camera that it actually took a picture. That was kind of crucial in the business. Otherwise, it wouldn't have flown. The second one was getting my largest contract actually with a publisher that he had contracted me to take some aerial photographs from all the way from Alberta through the Okanagan down through the mainland.
Okay.
And then all of Vancouver Island. And truth be told, I bit off way more than I could chew. It turned into a 3-month project, but I took the pictures. I took about 4,000 pictures in the matter of about a 5-week span. And so you can imagine the editing that had to go through there.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
so that's the other whole half of the business, is having to sit there and look at the images. So the biggest triumph was actually seeing them get published, actually walking into, because this was for a travel and tourism magazine, walking into some of the local resorts and seeing the images I took right on the cover of the magazine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
Yeah.
It made me feel a little famous. So just that little bit of time.
Let's talk about your market areas. You've touched on it a little bit. Peter, let's stay with you for a sec before we talk back to Mike. How do you see, or what do you see as the breadth of your marketplace for your aerial photography venture?
Well, if I'm answering the question right, I mean, Kelowna has the largest entrepreneurial population I've heard in Canada. So my primary source of business, I think is what I'm trying to answer here, has been word of mouth.
Yeah.
My biggest
Yeah.
challenge is exposure and actually having people understand what I can do. Until people actually see the blimp up in the air, they can't conceive of the idea of this type of aerial photography.
Well, not just see it, the blimp in the air, but see the blimp in the air and develop it from that an understanding of what it's doing. I mean, it's one thing to just see it floating around. It's another thing to say, hey, that little blimp is actually doing something constructive. It's not, as you said earlier tonight, it's not a toy.
No. And
Definitely,
once people
definitely.
see it up close,
Yeah.
they're amazed. And I've had, when I've done shoots for some of the special events downtown, I get friends from Rutland that have said they can see it and they think it's a lot larger than it is. Mind you, it is large. If anyone's familiar with it, Prospera,
Yeah.
it's actually about 16, 17 times larger than that one. So for the viewers, they might be able to relate to that as
Yeah,
far as the
absolutely.
size. So the market dictates where I go, and I get some extravagant calls to
Yeah.
just typical mom or wife, I should say, that just redid the garden and wants a cool picture for her husband.
Oh.
So I've done a fair amount of those,
Yeah,
which is
okay.
fun. It's just as fun as the big contract ones.
Okay. Mike, the length and breadth of your market focus.
Well, with mine, it's everybody that loves a handcrafted product. I mean, you just can't compare the craft spirits to the commercial stuff. It's just so much better,
Oh,
so much
okay.
more body, so much more everything, and it's all natural. It's we use 100% local produce from BC here, and like I said, all natural. You just can't find that in commercial stuff anymore.
I walked, the viewers should know, I walked into the liquor store to get a bottle of wine, excuse me, for a birthday celebration. Happens to be my birthday today, people.
Happy
And
birthday.
and I went into a liquor store in West Kelowna to get a bottle of wine for my birthday dinner. And I walked right by this particular section, vodka. And there was Spirit Bear vodka.
Yeah.
And Spirit Bear gin is there too.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're doing very well. Like I said, they're throughout BC and Alberta
Yeah,
now, and
yeah, that's really, in 3 years, I think you've done amazing penetration, believe it or not.
And it's difficult with spirits. Just basically, people will not buy a spirit they don't know. It's all word of mouth.
That's right.
And if they've tasted it, if they haven't heard from somebody that they've liked it, or have tasted it, they simply won't buy it. So
well, it's like Mike, Peter, but Mike, I can't help but think. It makes me think immediately of a good wine. You know, people develop discriminating tastes with wine, but they don't know what they don't know until they taste the products, right? People won't know that your vodka, for example, is a superior product unless they sample it.
correct.
Because it's, I told you this before, I talked to the manager of 2 liquor stores, 2 provincial liquor stores in the central Okanagan, and both of them told me, because I made a direct inquiry, because I was curious. Both of them told me that your vodka, they consider your vodka is a superior product.
Well, it's all handcrafted.
Yeah.
You can't get any better than that. It's you know, we're all about the quality, not the quantity.
Yeah.
And everybody nowadays just loves any product that's homegrown and it's all natural and it's made locally. And it's all about being local.
Distilling's like a form of art too, isn't it?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time and
Like
effort.
wine, too.
Yeah, a lot of adjustments.
The wine industry isn't just a business to make wine. They tell me, the producers tell me there's an artistry to that as well.
Art to drinking it.
Art to drink, exactly. Art to drink. Okay, I think I'm looking at my producer. We're slowly running out of time, fellas. Before we say goodbye tonight, any advice to aspiring entrepreneurs that each of you would like to share?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that when I first started, there was someone that told me that there's 3 really important things that you need to do in order to be an entrepreneur. The first one is to have a market. You have to have someone that's willing to buy your product or your service. The second one is the ability to do it. So you have to be able to deliver your product, or in my case, take a picture that's in focus. And the third biggest one that I found, which is the most important, was you have to have the passion. You have to have the passion to do it, because it's not, I thought that I'd be able to run my own schedule and I'd have, you know, a 6-hour day or a 4-hour day or a couple of days off.
Yes.
You know, it was
I
the
know.
first couple of years, I'm sure you know, it's
Yeah.
20-hour days,
I
and then
know.
you eat, sleep, and drink it, and
Yeah.
you know, and as long as you have supportive family members and so on that understand, then it's good. But the passion, for sure. I wouldn't have been able to do this if I didn't have the passion to fly.
Everything I've read, Peter and Mike, everything I've read and researched, I'm a crazy man researcher on entrepreneurship, as those people who know me know that is so. Everything that I've read on entrepreneurship in research publications, all zero in on passion.
Passion is great, but you know,
Yeah.
you got to be able to pull that trigger.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's
Action.
You believe in your vision.
Yeah.
Just do it. you
Do
know?
it. That's exactly that's another guiding principle.
Yep.
Just do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of great ideas, very good business minds, but they
Yeah.
just won't pull that trigger. You know, they're in their
Well, there's-
day-to-day jobs, and they just don't want to.
There's a built-in fear to taking that step to become self-employed.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. We're only human, and you can think you have the greatest idea in the world, and you've done all the preparation, and when it comes time to, as you say, you know, pull the string, people just, am I going to be able to succeed or not?
But it's all marketing,
Yeah.
and you know, make sure you got tons of money set aside for marketing. 'Cause I've been here for almost 4 years, and I bet you half of Kelowna doesn't even know I exist yet. It's I'm a little tucked away. I'm in the industrial area, and
Well, I think that we've talked about that. I think the viewers should hear you say that visibility is absolutely integral for both of you. For you too, Peter, right? Visibility.
course.
People have to know that you exist before they can react to who, what, where, when, why, and how you are, right? You know, you're talking about when your blimp is up in the air, if people don't know the multitude of applications your service can provide and the benefits that service may mean to them, and and Mike, with your distillery products, to know that your vodka and your gin is considered a Rolls Royce, if you will, in the spirit industry, you know, then you're going to be banging your head against the wall for a long time.
You'd think a giant blimp in the sky would create some visual attention for sure. So
Exactly.
it's been working, which is great. So.
Okay. Well, I can't think of anything else. Thank you both for coming, and good night.